It was August 15th, 2003, India's 56th Independence Day. Atal Bihari Vajpayee sir was India's Prime Minister at that time. He was the first person to announce Chandrayaan-1 mission. Chandrayaan is Sanskrit and Hindi word. It means moon vehicle. While announcing the mission, Vajpayee sir said, "Our country is now ready to fly high in the field of science. I am pleased to announce that India will send her own spacecraft to the moon by 2008. It is being named Chandrayaan-1. He meant India will achieve more development in space science in the future, and India has the capability also. Within next 5 years, in 2008, India will send its own spacecraft to the moon, and the name of the mission is Chandrayaan-1, he said. They have allocated 386 crore budget for this mission. ISRO scientists spent a lot of time and effort for that 5 years. At that time, ISRO didn't have very much experience in space science, especially dealing with sending spacecraft into lunar orbit. But they did so much research with much dedication. ISRO had experience with geostationary orbits at that time. It means India had the space technology to send satellites into Earth's orbit. The next steps for them was to research more and enhance geostationary satellites so that one day they can try to reach lunar orbit. So Chandrayaan-1 mission was the logical extension of ISRO's space science capabilities. By studying the moon, we can understand how it formed and how the moon evolved gradually over a period of time. It will also help to get insights into how the solar system and our Earth is formed. As Vajpayee sir said, in 2008, India launched its first moon mission. In this video, we will see more details on Chandrayaan-1 mission. Please watch the full video. First of all, let's see the objectives of this mission. It has so many objectives. Let's look at the main aspects. As this is India's first lunar mission, ISRO aimed to design a spacecraft with good standards. And instead of importing it from other countries, India aimed to develop its own spacecraft and then develop a powerful launch vehicle. Then, using this vehicle, launching the spacecraft successfully is the key objective. Once the launch is successful, ISRO planned to do scientific experiments using the instruments that are there in the spacecraft. Capturing moon's surface and creating three-dimensional photogeology mapping is the next objective. Then analyze the moon surface and do chemical mapping for so many elements like magnesium, aluminium, silicon, calcium, iron, titanium, radon, uranium, and thorium. Identify whether moon's surface has any water molecules or not is one of the obvious objectives of this mission. With this mission, India is aimed to enhance its technological capabilities in space exploration. ISRO's ultimate future goal was to do a safe landing on the moon's surface. So, with Chandrayaan-1 mission, at least do the crash landing and make use of the information that it collects. So these were a few of Chandrayaan-1 mission's objectives. And now let's see how the mission is launched and what kind of information it collected. It was October 22, 2008. India prepared PSLV rocket. It weighs 1380 kg. And finally, ISRO launched Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft into Earth's orbit using PSLV rocket. It all has happened from Satish Dhawan Space Center. Till 17 days after the launch, the spacecraft continued to stay in Earth's orbit by increasing the orbit's length. After that, on November 8, 2008, Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft successfully entered into lunar orbit. As the launch vehicle is already separated, the spacecraft now weighs 675 kg. The distance between Moon and Earth is 384,000 kilometers. Spacecraft is within lunar orbit, but it's not sufficient. It has to move closer to study the moon. So in the next 4 days, spacecraft has tried to move closer to the moon's surface by changing its orbit, fired its engines multiple times and reached 100 kilometers of circular lunar orbit. And the next step is to study lunar surface using its instruments. Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft has 11 instruments in total. India has developed 5 of them, and the remaining instruments were imported from other countries like USA, Germany, UK, Sweden and Bulgaria. ISRO has the capability to develop all these instruments on its own, but it takes time. Spacecraft is being launched, so ISRO wanted to have all the possible instruments in place to make use of them in the best ways. So whatever ISRO could do, it developed, and the remaining instruments were imported, and it was definitely a wise decision. Every instrument is important, but 3 of them are the most important. Terrain mapping camera. It will capture the lunar surface in the form of high-resolution 3D images. With this, we will get insight on where exactly the craters, mountains and valleys are there in the moon. Moon mineralogy mapper. It will be useful to identify minerals on the lunar surface. It also helps with the mapping preparation. This data will help scientists in a greater way. It will also give us the clues on geological evolution of the moon. It will give insights into knowing more information on differences and similarities between Earth and the moon. Miniature synthetic aperture radar. It will detect whether the lunar surface has water molecules or not. There will be permanently shadowed regions near lunar poles. There will be no sunrise on those regions. This instrument detects water molecules even in such regions. Making attempts to detect water molecules in space explorations has immense significance. Okay, let's go back to the timeline. After reaching 100 kilometers lunar circular orbit, 6 more days had passed, and Chandrayaan-1 has a sub-satellite moon impact probe. On November 14, 2008, exactly after 6 days, Chandrayaan-1 made the moon impact probe crash land on Shackleton crater that is near the South Pole. The impacted place was named Jawahar Point. On Shackleton crater, sun rays won't fall, so there may be a possibility of water ice. Crash landing here doesn't mean it fell down out of control. It was a controlled crash landing. Chandrayaan-1 intentionally made the moon impact probe crash land on the lunar surface. It was mission's plan. With this, India is the 4th country to place an object on the moon's surface at the desired location. It was a crash landing, but the probe sent data related to moon's surface. And this data was important because it will be analyzed to achieve a safe landing in future lunar missions. Let's see more details about it. Moon impact probe weighs 34 kg. It also has 3 instruments inside: video imaging system, radar altimeter and mass spectrometer. Just a few seconds before of crash landing, the image system in the probe captured the moon's surface. Radar altimeter calculated altitude. That means while crash landing, it calculated the distance between lunar surface and the probe for every second. The mass spectrometer, it studied atmosphere near the moon's surface. If we observe it, ISRO had captured the data from these 3 parameters and used it to try safe landing in the next lunar missions. One thing to note here is it's only the probe that had crash landing, but the Chandrayaan-1 main spacecraft was still functional in moon's orbit. From November 14, 2008 to August 28, 2009, approximately for 10 months, Chandrayaan-1 was in lunar orbit, and it was trying to understand the lunar surface, conducted different types of scientific experiments and surveys, analyzed mineral composition of lunar surface. Spacecraft has sent us so much important information. Like every story has a sad part, this mission also has a sad ending. Actually, the intended life of this mission was 2 years, but finally on August 29, 2009, exactly after 10 months and 7 days of the mission launch date, communication with Chandrayaan-1 spacecraft was lost. So it was an end for Chandrayaan-1 mission. But the good part is Chandrayaan-1 mission has achieved so many aspects already. Spacecraft completed 3,400 orbits around the moon already and sent so much information to the scientists. It captured 70,000 high-resolution images of lunar surface and sent them to ISRO. It captured a full picture of Earth. Chandrayaan-1 mission confirmed that lunar surface was once a hot fluid and gradually after so many million years it transformed from a liquid state to a solid state. It's called magma ocean hypothesis. It also captured the landing site of US spacecraft Apollo 15. It detected titanium and calcium elements, also had accurate information on the composition of iron, aluminium, magnesium and silicon. This data was very useful in the subsequent lunar missions Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3. Most importantly, Chandrayaan-1 mission confirmed water molecules on the lunar surface. It detected water ice near Moon's north polar region. The success of the mission received many awards. With this success, international space agencies like NASA, European Space Agency, Bulgarian Academy of Sciences wanted to collaborate with India. So India's reputation in global space community has increased. It created a scope for more satellite launching projects to India. It obviously helps India financially. Finally, after 8 years of Chandrayaan-1 mission launch date, on 2017 March, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is NASA's ground-based radar system, located Chandrayaan-1 orbiter. It confirmed that the orbiter is still in lunar orbit in 200 km radius from the lunar surface. The communication with this orbiter was cut in 2009, so it's helpless now. Chandrayaan-1 mission was set a foundation stone for India's subsequent moon missions, Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3. India shows a strong potential in future space explorations and scientific research by using Chandrayaan-1 mission's data and knowledge. What do you guys think about Chandrayaan-1 mission? Did it help India in space exploration? Please comment your opinion. Also, please let me know how was this video. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe if you like the video.